Hey, welcome to SMarketPlace Live. We've done several pre-recorded versions, Tom and I, and now we're going live with Karen Vogel. Welcome, Karen. Welcome, Tom.
All right.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
So we're here to
as always.
talk about rock and roll. Go ahead, Tom.
Happy to be here, VP Sales at Market Share Growth Experts.
And Karen, introduce yourself.
Yep, Karen Vogel. I'm founder and CEO of Event Performance Group, as well as Start It Up.
And Karen, you and I met doing events quite a long time ago. We even have done a trade show in Vegas together. You are the master of RO. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Great. So I've been in the event business for 30 years, although I know I don't look it. And also have had a dual career in marketing and sales and for working for companies and government contractors. So my companies kind of meld the two together, and we produce events for government agencies, associations, corporations, and we also help companies with their exhibit and sponsorship experiences, so they really get that ROI out of those.
When we worked together, it was absolutely incredible. It wasn't just about the booth and all the setup. It was about integrating it with our sales team and getting our deal flow out of the booth connected.
Exactly. And it's still to this day, and it really amazes me that still about 80% of companies, when they go into a trade show, have not done anything to prepare for it, to think about what they're going to do on site, or even what they're going to do afterwards with the leads. It just blows me away. And it's that 20% that I'm working with now with companies to help them to have a better event. And then as a show producer, we really spend a lot of time helping companies to showcase what they want to on site.
That really dovetails to what we're trying to do here with SMarketPlace, and that's Tom and I have been talking about the connectivity between marketing and sales, and the whole idea about talking about rock and roll. Not only is it something that senior people in companies all have a rock and roll story, we've learned, but also the idea that sales and marketing have to work together like a band today. It's all one data set. Salesforce and HubSpot and companies that brought us all out of the Stone Age, where we had two separate databases, one for sales and one for marketing. Now it's all one. We got to play the music off the same notes. So, Tom, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how we've all been interacting over the last few months.
Well, we do our podcast at Sales Marketing, Rock and Roll, and Bourbon, which is why I'm in the bourbon room.
I should put mine up. You know what? I'm going to make a call.
This is where Keith and I do our podcast, but we usually do it a little bit later in the day, so we actually cheers each other at the end of the podcast. So it's a little too early right now, but no, we really get a great deal of value of thinking about what we're going to say when we talk about the melding of sales and marketing, and how important it is to not silo sales and marketing, and that they really are integrative and should be integrative to be most effective in any company, whether it's a startup, a scale up, or a large cap business. It's so important to identify the ideal customer profile and to segment those customers properly, and to be able to reach those customers in the most effective way. And that's where Keith and I come from, and that's how we were raised in the business world, and that's what we believe in.
Absolutely. And I've spent my whole career working with sales teams to get their presence known, whether it be through content like white papers and case studies and articles from executives to showing up in Las Vegas, right? Content and events are deeply intertwined, and they're all there in my career to support the efforts of the sales team.
Right, exactly.
So the other piece of this is the rock and roll side. We'll get into it, but Karen, you and I have learned you're a great lover of rock and roll too, and we kind of connected on putting on an event is a lot like putting on a concert.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It really is. I think events, boy, they're still the best marketing and sales ROI of any marketing channel. You cannot beat face-to-face. And what happened with COVID, companies realized that without that face-to-face, they were really scrambling with, how do we generate leads? How do we get into companies? And so now events are back even stronger than pre-COVID, but there's so many options out there. How do companies decide which events they should do? And there's a big investment that's needed, so you better have your plan going in on what you're going to do, and that marketing and sales better be integrated so you know exactly what you're doing. One of the experiences I had, and this is, boy, a great story that aligns with this. One of my clients in my first event management company was Tyco Healthcare, which is now Covidian, and then I think something else, but medical device manufacturer, right? One of the biggest ones out there. And their big show was the American College of Surgeons, because they don't sell to the doctors, but they're big influencers on the devices they use, right, in surgery. And they'd spend, a couple of $1 million on their booth, and they'd go in and probably spend $250,000 to $500,000 on this show every year. And so it was the show, and they ran the party, during the event. And my client came to me, who was head of marketing for their events. And she said, I'm really frustrated. The sales team keeps complaining to me, and here we're spending all this money. What's the deal? I need your help. And so they brought in all the division reps and salespeople and the head of sales for this company and her team. And it turned into be this big fight in the meeting, because the salespeople were saying, we don't get good leads. And the marketing team is, what are you talking about? We're spending all this money, and we have this big booth, and, we have a party, and we don't know what you're talking about. So I ended up doing a session with the salespeople. And I remember asking the head of sales, saying, what is a qualified lead to you? And he just looked at me like a deer in headlights, like he'd never been asked that before. And so I did a whole session about, what do you need? What is a qualified lead? And what it came down to is the American College of Surgeons captured people's names, but they didn't capture the hospital that the surgeon was associated with, which was the critical piece of information that the sales team needed. So we created a whole marketing program, and using smart card technology, and the smart card was handed to the surgeon in the booth for access to the big party. And when they got their smart card, they checked their record in their system and updated their data and the hospital. So they got the data they needed, and they didn't have anyone else going into the party like the vendors that tried to sneak in. And it was the best show they ever had. So that's what, I do for my clients, is kind of integrating that to find out, why are you even doing this event? What are your goals? And let's then develop a program around that. And it's not just what you do before the event, because we send out different communications, what you do on site, and leveraging great technology now. But more importantly, how do you follow up afterwards? And we made sure that data was in their CRM to follow up. So, and then those programs to do that. So that's a great story, I think, of, trying to get teams together because marketing and sales still don't quite sometimes talk to each other.
Right. Right.
Yeah. How does that man, like beyond that, and connecting the right information to the lead, how else does that show up when sales and marketing aren't working together? Well, Tom, this is when we start the dance.
I was just
There we
thinking.
go.
Hey, there we go. We're back.
Let's see. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
So that's what happens when we bring people in from all over for live streaming. We were talking about, Karen, what happens when sales and marketing don't go together. My best example is when people are just milling around the booth talking to themselves and there's customers walking by.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the time I see it. When I produce a show, it kills me to see salespeople just sitting there on their phone, or I had one guy clipping his nails once in a garbage can. So, I mean, it's crazy what happens. Stories I could tell you.
Yeah, well, tell us the stories. I mean, that is really,
There you go.
I go crazy when I see that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so we really, we do and this is what I did at Reed Exhibition, where I started kind of my event career, one of the bigger trade show organizers in the world. But I created one of the first programs to go out and do training for our exhibitors so that they were better prepared. And we'd put together a marketing kit for them that they could customize and everything. But back in the early days, we were still printing paper tickets and giving those out, and really helping them with a whole kit and training their sales team. And we do a road show out there at other events and meetings, and we'd have exhibitors and their staff come in, and it really did make a difference for a lot of those companies. Oh, I think we've lost folks again.
Oh, oh, we're back.
No,
We're
now
back. Again. I was just there by myself.
So I was fascinated to hear that events are coming back stronger than pre-pandemic. Tell us a little bit about the trends that you're seeing, not only for big companies, but smaller companies as well.
Yeah, so events are coming back stronger. There's a lot more options out there. And so I think the biggest struggle is with so many options. Even attendees are saying, well, I can only attend, a few. So I'm going to go to some of these that really have the education I need. So companies really need to look at, the audience that the event is, the history of it, to make sure that if they're going to invest in an event, that they're, make sure that their target audience is there. And I think we've lost Keith and Tom again.
We're
here.
Okay.
There you go. So Karen, I was just thinking. I came from a medical device company.
Okay.
Also, and we started off with a 10 by 10 booth, and gradually escalated to a 40 by 40, and then went up, right, to 1 story, 2 story, and then 3 story. Huge. And our event planners, I had the ultimate respect for. And there's so many moving parts. It was just amazing to me, to the events.
Yeah.
And, so I have a lot of respect for it. And I think, you're the hub and there's a million spokes that go sales and marketing and advertising and PR and, so many, the booth and the booth constructors themselves and all that. So how do you keep the wheel going? How do you keep things in place and moving and on time and to spec and all of that? I always, you see these things in real time, but then you see kind of a sped up version of a convention coming together.
Right.
And it blows you away how it all works together.
Well, the thing about events, unlike marketing, and I've done a lot of marketing programs in my career too, is that you can't change a date of an event, right? So that's the biggest challenge. And you better have the right people behind you, whether you've got your event folks internally that are making sure and coordinating all those moving parts, because like you said, you got to ship the booth there. You've got to order all your services. You've got to make sure that, you got your badges set. And then on top of that, what are you doing at the show and all that marketing? Wow. And every show is different because it depends on what the organizer does to help you too, right? So there's a lot of moving parts, and you better make sure that you've got the right people there helping you. Yeah. From the organizer standpoint, no different. You better have a team that knows what they're doing, because you've got to orchestrate on a much bigger scale that show, being built. It's like a mini city being built, and then for a couple of days, and then everything's got to tear down and everyone goes on their way. So it is a lot of coordination, but it's having the right folks, having the experienced people to do it.
Yeah, that's the key to everything, is having the right people.
Yeah. But again, as you said, you've got your sales team who tends to not even think about a show until literally like a couple of weeks before. And, for some of the shows we do, that's when we start to get all the questions from exhibitors. And of course, we've been, telling them for months and months, get your orders in early, start to market, and then they start to wake up a couple of weeks before, and then they're scrambling. So that's the sales side, because they're busy with, probably other shows or, seeing customers. And, from the marketing standpoint, same thing. We'll start to see social media and other things pop up from the exhibitors, but it's only a couple of weeks before the show. What they don't realize is that they are such a critical part of the content, right? That's at a show. And by going out early, that they're going to be at the show, here's what they're showing. Here's a special demo they're doing. Here's where they're going to be speaking. By doing that early, they're going to draw the attendees not only to the show, but to their booth and their session, and much better than if someone starts to do it a week out from the show.
Right.
So because then you're competing with everyone else.
You were mentioning to me when we were prepping for this, that in many cases, especially in the government, but maybe in the larger corporations as well, that the buyer's journey has a Chinese wall in terms of the relationships, and really shows are kind of the last place we have to get together socially with buyers.
Oh, absolutely. We run an Army event every spring up at Fort Detrick. And what the exhibitors were saying is, we used to be able to go to NIH and some of the other agencies and walk around and see our customers and chat with them and find out about opportunities coming up. And now most of those people are working from home. So, and they have not, federal employees have not come back. I think it's the same with commercial. You used to be able to go to the office and see all of your customers, and now you can't. They're all working from home. Maybe they're coming back a day or two, but gone are the days that you can walk the halls, right? And get those leads. So the only place that you can see people are at events. And that's why I think events are coming back stronger. And it's such a huge opportunity that companies have to be there. I remember when COVID hit, my other business started up, and we provide marketing and sales and strategies and execution for companies and government contractors. And when COVID hit, all of a sudden sales were gone. I mean, leads were gone. So they needed other ways to reach people. And so we were busier than ever with our clients. But now that events have come back, because the leads were never that great during COVID, it's just harder to reach people. So that face-to-face is so important. Now they're all coming back and doing more events, which is great.
Tom, you mentioned all the people that are involved as you get into larger and larger events. And I know we were chatting before, it reminded us a bit of Jackson Browne's Loadout. And it's good transition here to the rock and roll side of this.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that, Karen, running on empty sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
So you really have to have a lot of respect for the people that pull together events, just like the roadies that pull together a concert, in terms of making all of this work and getting to the issues that really, how does it work from a business perspective?
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, Keith. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Tom.
I was just going to say, and this might not be the best time, but Keith, you've got a great story. A great Jackson Browne story. You want to table that or tell that now?
Yeah, and then we want to jump. Yeah, for sure. And then we'll jump. Karen, tell us a little bit about your favorite music. So I saw Jackson Browne sing Loadout and Stay. And the way that happened was my girlfriend and I, we were in high school. It was on the Running on Empty tour. And we went down to see if we could get tickets out front. It had been sold out, so we were going to scalp some tickets. And this guy, he was like the bully of the school. He reminded me of the bully in Back to the Future. And he walks up to us, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get my butt kicked here, right out in front of the stadium. And he goes, I don't have any tickets, but I can get you in. And his dad worked for Northwestern University. And he had gone into Dyke Stadium, it's called Ryan Field now, and propped open a window. And we had to climb up the tower of the stadium to the second floor. Into the window, we went all the way up the tower, across the press box, down the stairs to the basement of the second tower, and walked through a tunnel and came out, and there was Jackson Browne playing, and we were like in fifth row for the concert.
Nice. I have a similar story because my first concert was America at the Dick Clark Theater in New York. And a couple of my high school friends in high school, and a couple of my friends had gotten tickets and had left me out and another friend of mine. And so it just so happens that my friend's dad was a dentist and happened to know, one of his clients or customers was associated with the theater. So he ended up getting us tickets. And when we got there, she and I went by ourselves, and then and our other friends knew that we were coming, and they were way in the back on the balcony, and we were 10th row center. And we waved and laughed.
That's great.
That's awesome. Those are the things that we, love to tie together here with sales, marketing, and rock and roll. Tom and I have learned over the last few months, everybody's got a rock and roll story.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
And it's a leveling where I think traditionally a lot of the social conversation, everybody participates. And yet we're going to rock and roll. And that demographic tends to be in more senior positions these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't you think too that concerts have become more of an event? It's not just someone getting up and singing anymore. It's, like I went to Pink last year, and she's flying across on cables and doing and the sets are amazing.
Right.
And
It's like Broadway.
it's just become a different experience, and it's almost like people demand it. So there are a few that can do it really well, and it becomes more of a whole event experience and not just a concert.
Well, the music industry's changed so much that the concerts are money makers. I mean, you look at the prices we're paying
Yeah.
for tickets now.
Yeah. Yep.
Gotta
Even
put
Taylor
on a
Swift,
show.
right? A billionaire now.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Because of her
Yeah,
era
and
story.
we want to support music all the way around. Out here, I've started seeing a lot more live bands than I did, back in Connecticut.
Yep.
And you want to support the local music.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Hey,
So
there's
go
a
ahead.
couple of comments here too, on the side that I thought were really interesting. One mirrors your story, but for a football game. Keith snuck into Dyke Stadium, similar way for a football game when he was 13. Someone asked, "What is SmarketPlace?" And that's a great question. And SmarketPlace is really the melding of sales and marketing. And that's what Keith and I are on a mission about, is being able to not silo sales and marketing, but to meld them together. And that's what we're all about.
That's right, Tom.
Here's another
That's right.
comment too.
I was just going to say that I learned about smarketing working with HubSpot as a
Yes.
agency partner, and they really came out and hit the concept hard around 2016, and it's kind of bubbled along. You can see it, but when you and I met, and amazingly, in our first networking meeting, we found out that our first concert was Boston, and that kind of led us down the trail of talking about sales, marketing, and rock and roll.
That's right. That's right.
Well, and to add to that, so my firm is a HubSpot, partner as well, and we set up HubSpot for every one of our clients, as well as use it for events. And gone are the days where you can just send out one email and hope attendees come. And some organizations still do that. Whereas we are doing target marketing to specific people, telling them, here's the type of sessions that are here. Here's the type of exhibitors that you would be interested in. And that does convert more attendees.
Yeah, absolutely. HubSpot, you and I are talking on that as a tool, not just for producing online content, but supporting the events as well.
Yeah. I think someone said using AI now. Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.
And limit, not for everything, and certainly you always need to check it. But it does give you a good foundation to start with, some different ideas, and then you can run with it from there, because it's never going to replace the experience you have, the specific industry you're working in, or the specific project that you're doing.
It's great for generating ideas too. But,
Mhm.
but to your point, Karen, you have to make it your own, and your own voice.
Exactly.
Are you seeing any cool stuff in your event corner of the marketing world, applications of AI?
Well, one of the cool things is, we build a lot of websites for events, and what we're using AI for is, instead of developing the search engine optimization content ourselves, we're using AI within, applications that are building that optimization for us. and of course tweaking it because it's still too general, but they're able to see what people are searching on and take our content from the website and come up with a much better meta description and keywords that we can optimize on the page, and hopefully drive more traffic and more attendance.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming up on the half hour here, and we want to respect everybody's time. This is great. Thank you for going live with us. We're definitely pushing the edge here. Yeah.
Next time I'm going to have a shot of tequila.
Oh,
We'll have to do this at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And it'll have margarita lime in it.
it's not just bourbon here. If you look down, that's
well, we'll have to have you out to the Rock and Roll Bar.
Fun.
Tom's room is amazing. You go downstairs, you punch in a code, the bookshelf opens up, and you go into the bourbon bar. The bar
Like
is made up. Tom, tell them about where you got the bar table, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, the short story is the Red Rocks in Denver was redoing the original benches, and so they were auctioning off the benches, and I got a couple of sets of benches and made them into a long bar table, and they have the original row and seat numbers on them. So that's what we made into the bar.
Oh, that is cool. That's a place I've always wanted to go to.
Oh, it's a special place.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll.
All right, well, I'll have to make a trip out there and I'll have to make a trip out there. We'll go.
Good. Well, hey, Karen, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Your insights.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Everybody, Karen Vogel, check her out on LinkedIn, and we'd love to hear your feedback about the show, how we can make it better, and we want to hear your stories about your successes in sales and marketing, as well as your favorite bands and the stories from rock and roll in your life.
All right. Take care.
Peace
everybody.
out.